This is DownHome Sports, covering the best sports and student athletes in Ellis County. Brought to you by Pinnacle Bank with ATM Live, powered by the people. Not just another bank in Texas, but Texas in a bank.
And Superstar Collision, located on Highway 67 in Cedar Hill. To get it done right, choose Superstar Collision for your automotive repairs.
Hey, Ellis County, guess what we got going on DownHome tonight? We got a special guest here, Coach Holman from Waxahachie Lady Indians. It was just announced just a couple weeks ago that he's taking over the head coaching duties. Coach Holman, thank you for joining us here tonight.
Thank you for having me this evening. Appreciate it.
Well, let's take a long step back. And what first made you love basketball?
I tell you, I've been playing basketball a long time. It wasn't my first sport. My first sport was actually football and baseball. And, one of the baseball coaches at the time, probably 7, 8-year-old coach said, "Hey, I'm going to start a basketball league. Would you want to join?" And I was like, sure. Most kids are like, yeah, whatever. I'll go try anything. And just fell in love with it. I ended up getting a hoop outside and just, every day after school, every chance I got, that's what I wanted to do, was play ball.
That's pretty awesome, man. Well, you graduate from Mount St. Mary's High School in Oklahoma City. And what was that experience like as far as being an athlete up there? I know Oklahoma City now has a pretty big basketball-centric deal, but Oklahoma City's always been about sports.
Right. Everybody, you're either a Sooner fan or a Cowboy fan up there. And, just like you said, they care about their sports. They love their sports up there. I remember when the Thunder came in, it was a big deal. They embraced that team, and it's just, like you said, it's just a sports town, sports atmosphere. So, but my high school experience was great.
Well, what are some of the similarities from Mount St. Mary's to Waxahachie?
It's kind of neat because, when you think of Waxahachie, you only got that one high school in town. And so, it's very similar to, St. Mary's. It was, a smaller school, but, you had that school spirit, just like Waxahachie. You got that one high school town. So.
Okay. And then you move on to, I believe it's Langston. And then, of course, Sul Ross State University, where you got your master's of education. So did you grad assist in basketball, or were you grad assisting in something else?
Yep, I grad assisted in men's basketball at Sul Ross State. Actually, that team just got inducted into the Hall of Honor about a month ago. We hadn't been to Alpine in a long time, and got a chance to go back to Alpine and see those guys, and good times. Just, it was a great atmosphere, just great people and great experience down there.
You can almost get a nosebleed going up the mountain from this side of the Alpine. Let me tell you.
Sure.
Sure. But Coach, you come here to Waxahachie in 2020. And what are some of the things that you noticed about the school, the program right off the bat?
Like I said, everybody's really into the sports there in Waxahachie. That's awesome. To have that community involvement, I think it's just for us, for women's basketball in particular, getting those young ladies playing at an earlier age. I attend a lot of AAU events and go see, I was out this past weekend, and, you see young ladies and what schools they're from, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's just like, we've got to get ours, playing, 4th, 5th, 6th grade. So, kind of match the skill level.
Okay. So is one of those things, of course, AAU ball, you're going to be accelerated there, but is it not, having those youth leagues and, like you've got a couple of different options there in Hatchie, I do believe, as far as youth play. How important is that, getting them in their 3rd, 4th grade? It just seems like men's sports, we'll take a kid kindergarten, 1st, 2nd grade. Right. But in women's sports, we don't necessarily put them out there that young. We normally pick them up 3rd, 4th, 5th grade, somewhere in there. And does that not hold that young lady back just a little bit?
It does. It's funny that you mentioned that. As a matter of fact, our camp, we're actually going to have our camp starting at kindergarten. Okay. I believe the earlier that you, like you said, you get them involved and get them, interested in basketball, if they gravitate to it, like, my experience, they'll just keep on and start, from there.
Awesome. Well, now we're going to junior high ball a little bit. How important is having that link with your junior high coaches? It's great to be the high school and set the program standards and stuff like that. But do you feel like the junior high is really going to impact you sooner than later? What's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, definitely. As a matter of fact, I stopped at one junior high last week. I plan on getting to the other two this week, and just kind of like you said, them getting to know me and see my face and know a little bit about me. And then for two, just having that involvement, that camaraderie, because they're going to be super important because they're, trickling up the line to go, play at the high school in the next few years. So, and just kind of getting them acclimated, you see a lot of districts that, they run similar things, whether it be in football or in basketball. Now, of course, the skill level is different, but just kind of having them, pick up and say, oh yeah, I've heard of that. Or I've seen that drill. I remember we've done that drill before. So super important.
Well, is it not, I always say this about women's sports, it's all about camaraderie,
Sure.
and trust. Yeah. So is it not a little bit more important maybe in women's sports to get down from a high school coach's perspective, to get down and actually watch some games, see some practices, and just so those ladies see you and they start having that trust in what your capabilities are?
For sure. It's funny that you mentioned that because, I always say, the ladies, if you feel good, you normally play good, and it's one of those things where, guys, they can kind of just go out and we're just going to go out and play. The girls aren't like that. Trust me. I've got 3 girls at home, so I know how that
Same here. But coach, when we're talking about this stuff, football, you can kind of run program and run the same plays, no matter what the age is, you can kind of do that. Basketball, yeah, you can run this similarity of plays, but when you start getting to high school level, you start having isolations, things like that. What would be the base, if any, on an offensive system that you're thinking about implementing?
We run, basketball is changing. You used to have, 7-footer, you throw it into the paint and let that guy go one-on-one. Now you got 7-footers that, like Kevin Durant, for instance,
yes,
can step out and shoot the 3 and handle the ball just like a guard. And so, one of the things one of our systems, we'll have like a 5-out pass and cut type motion offense that at any level, ball goes here, you cut here. The ball goes here, you cut here. And just kind of getting, like I said, that trickling down to the middle school level. And then, of course, as they progress to the high school level, now you start adding some stuff to it, down screen here, screen away here, back screen there, flare screen, those sorts of things.
Well, I mean, are you going to be more attacking, do you think, instead of, a lot of girls basketball teams, especially in this area, they're going to play for that one shot. There's a couple, though, that attack pretty hard. Are you a proponent of utilizing the clock to get that perfect shot, or is that just a situational deal? But most of the time, trying to play your defense into your offense.
For sure. Like, we're going to be defensive based, in our district. I mean, you see those juggernauts, and so you kind of figure out real quick what you need to do. Defensively, we're going to be aggressive, try to get up and pressure you, and turn those turnovers into layup opportunities, quick scores, that sort of thing. Offensively, same way. We're looking to attack. I mean, we're going to attack, but we're also going to be smart, when to attack and when not to attack. If you attack and that person steps up, you better be looking to kick out to somebody that can shoot the 3.
Well, heck yeah, and that's one of the things right there is, who are those players that you see for this next year that you're probably going to lean on a little bit more than normal, to step up and be big leaders on the team?
Right. Well, fortunately for us, we didn't have a senior in the program. And so we've got everyone returning, a lot of experience coming back. One of our main glue people is going to be Kyla McBride. She's been a 4-year varsity player, and expecting some big things from her. Scout Burns is another one, and she's been doing great. All the young ladies in the off season, but Scout, I've really been seeing a difference in her in the off season. But it'll be good. It will be good.
Awesome. Well, talk about the relationship with, the athletic department and how they help the program run out as well. There's a lot you don't realize, when you're building a program up, how much that AD department can really help you. In what they're willing to do and help out junior high going up, et cetera. What are some of the things that you feel like the AD department's going to do to help you vault this program quickly?
Just that relationship piece, like you were talking about, between, the link between myself and the middle school coordinators. I met with Coach Reed one day last week, and that was one of the things that we talked about. It takes a family, it takes a village to try to get this thing going. It's not just, me, Waxahachie. It's going to be, Howard, Coleman, Finley. Everybody. And the athletic department's been great. Coach Reed, Coach Fawcett, Coach Midden, everybody, Coach Tolley. Everybody's, we're all in this together. One of the things I always talk about is play for the W. And so everybody's thinking play for the win. It's like, yeah, we're going to play for the win, but we're playing for Waxahachie too.
There you go. Well, and speaking of playing for Waxahachie, are you reaching back now? Or are you thinking about reaching out to some former players like Maya and them to come up and try to reinvigorate that pulse of Waxahachie into the program?
For sure. No doubt. I think that's super important. And just getting those, the ladies in the program, they hear those stories, but they don't really know those young ladies. And so, fortunately for us, Maya is one that, pretty, close in age, so she can come back and talk. We had another young lady, last name was Pointer, came back in. I think she graduated about 4 or 5 years ago. Came back and talked to him the other day. So that's going to be super important. I want as many, alumni, former players to come back and help. Like I said, it's going to take everybody.
Oh, yes. Well, speaking of everybody, coaches, whether assistant or head coaches, especially head coaches, need the support of their families. And, we're going to definitely want you to give your wife a shout out. Okay. Because it's family that makes it happen. You got 3 girls.
For sure.
And I don't think people get enough credit on the behind the scenes stuff for what all goes on in the coach's life. So how does your family help you on a regular coaching week?
Like you said, I was going to mention her. I didn't know how I was going to get in, but my wife, Michelle, has been awesome. And she's been a former coach. And so she coached at a middle school a long time ago. And once, we started having kids, she was like, I'm just going to, do the family thing, raise the girls and then let you kind of do it. And so, she's super schedule oriented. When you got 3 girls, you got one in dance, one in cheer, and then the other one's going to like acting classes. So, I'm very fortunate because she handles a lot of that.
Well, let me ask you this. Is it better that she was a coach or worse? Do you get a 12-hour no comment zone, or is she telling you, hey man, why didn't you run this or da-da-da-da?
She's pretty good about that. She'll know when to kind of say, hey, you probably should have ran this or ran that.
Yeah.
But no, she knows to kind of let me cool down for a minute. But
I got you.
Yeah, she knows the game.
Hey, and that, sometimes that helps to have somebody that's not in it, as deep to be able to bounce stuff off of. Well, Coach, definitely. What are some of the biggest things that you think we're going to see out of this next year's squad?
Just like you said, that camaraderie, that playing together. That's kind of one of my big things. I say before every game, play hard, play smart, and play together. If somebody, falls on the ground or takes a charge, the other 4 better be over there trying to help them off the floor. Somebody comes over to the bench, everybody needs to be up, clapping, high-fiving and cheering. I think that's just a big thing, like you spoke about earlier, is just, that feeling, how do you feel, and if you feel good, you play good. So that's one thing that will for sure change.
And that's definitely, do you have the date and how to sign up for your camps coming up over the summer?
We do. It's June 7th through, it's the 7th, 8th, and 9th. It's Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. K through 5 will be in the mornings. And then I believe that time slot is from 9 to 11. And then the afternoon will be 6 through 9, and that'll be from 1 to 4. And
they can go to your Facebook page or the IST Facebook page and get signed up for that, correct?
Yep.
Okay.
Sure.
Well, and Coach, what are some of the things y'all going to be doing at this camp this year?
A bunch of skill work, like I talked about, I think every day, no matter if you're, kindergarten or high school, you have to dribble, pass, and shoot. And so we'll for sure do a lot of ball handling, do a lot of passing, shooting. And for those little ones, I'll be honest, I want them to have fun.
Oh, yeah. You're not running them around with tennis balls, two-handed dribbling.
No.
But that's pretty cool, Coach. Well, are your players going to be involved with this as well?
We will. We'll try to have some players come in and help out. I'm trying to get a former player, Maya, to come back. If I can check her schedule. I talked to her the other day. She's doing well, but and like I said, maybe have a guest speaker like Maya come in and kind of talk one day if she's available.
Well, Coach, it's always a fun thing when you get a head coaching spot. What excited you about this spot the most?
Just the community. I think our sports are doing big things. You look at our football program is well, doing well. Track, both men's and women's track is doing well. Volleyball is successful. I mean, it's just the town, it's the whole community of it that really kind of excited me about this position.
Well, and also, one of the things I always know about a great basketball coach is they go to the track team and start looking at triple jumpers. Okay.
That's true.
So beware if you're on the Waxahachie track coaching staff. You might be missing a couple of triple jumpers next year. Just joking aside. But, how great is it that still at a 6A school like Waxahachie, you have dual sport athletes out there that take skill sets from one and bring it in the other programs?
I think that's awesome. Like I said, I started out playing football and baseball. And so, one of the things, we talk about as a coaching staff is we want, multi-sport athletes, get them a chance to try other things and find their way. I mean, Maya probably, she, of course, went for basketball, but if she wanted to go for track and throw the shot, she probably could have done that as well. So, I mean, it's good to have those options and leave those doors open, not just for coaches, but for the players as well.
Well, and what would you tell the community about, we touched on this just a little bit earlier, but, starting those kids at a little bit younger age, it doesn't mean you have to go AAU at second grade level, but right. Committing to playing in some of these peewee leagues out there and learning what it's like, because like you've mentioned a couple of times here, passing, fundamentals, those are hard things to pick up if you're just starting in fifth grade, touching the ball the first time.
Yeah, no doubt. A lot of times those little ones, they've already advanced. And so by the time you get to middle school, you're playing catch up on some things that they probably should have learned, third, fourth, fifth grade, and now we're teaching. So it's tough when you're, a step behind, and then, you go into our district. I mean, it's makes it doubly tough.
I can tell you when my daughter was playing in that district on a JV team, the girl that was the point guard on that Duncanville JV team was the player of the year in another division, the year before.
Right.
It's really tough, you know.
Right.
But what do you think it's going to take for the program to start being, you know, truly competitive against these bigger squads where, I mean, you got Duncanvilles and DeSoto's and stuff like that are graduating more people from the athletic program than we normally are just from our high schools here in Ellis County.
Right. Right. You know, I'll be honest, it's going to take, you know, it won't happen overnight, you know, but it's going to start with, you know, like we talked about, getting them involved earlier and getting them excited, you know. I know I was over at one of the middle schools the other day, and you know, just getting them wanting to play and be like, okay, you know, let's take some pride in, you know, Waxahachie and girls basketball and winning. And like I said, hopefully, you know, that'll just continue to build and build so we can, you know, have our name up there with the Duncanvilles and DeSoto's.
And you look at something like, you know, the physicality of women's basketball has gotten more physical and more physical. You know, like rip drills and stuff like that, just to get these kids to that physicality level that women's basketball is being played at in the state of Texas now.
Right. You know, we're in the weight room right now twice a week, maybe sometimes 3 times a week. I mean, you know, it's like you said, it's a whole different ball game now. You know, when you look at the athleticism and then you tie in the size and strength with it, I mean, that we're going to see in our district, it's tough, you know, so we got to make sure, you know, we're hitting that weight room, we're in shape, we're running, we're going. And, you know, I think we're headed in the right direction.
Well, Coach Holman, let's give you just a couple of seconds. Just reach out to the people of Waxahachie and let them know your heart, and let them know the direction you're ready to go.
Hey, you know, Waxahachie family, I'm gonna need you this year. Okay. Come out and support the young ladies. They've been working hard this off season, and they're looking forward to seeing everybody come out and they want to play hard for you. So come out and give us some support.
Well, Coach, thank you so much for joining us. It's been a pleasure to get to talk to you. Can't wait to see you this upcoming season coaching the ladies and see how far y'all can rise with the tribe.
In Ellis County, we're always on the run. It's always good to know that someone's always there. Doesn't matter the time of day. With ATM Live, hours are always available. Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. to 9 p.m. and Saturday, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. You can always pull right up and talk to someone live for that personal service. Or stop by and visit with the friendly folks inside. Pinnacle Bank, not just another bank in Texas, but Texas in a bank. Member FDIC.
Hey, Ellis County, guess what? We got the Heritage Jaguar track team. They just went to regionals. Things are going good over there. We got throwers. We got runners. We got jumpers. We got it all. We got the coaches that get this thing going for us. Coach Edwards, let's go with you first. Talk about just the track season as a whole first.
All right, yeah, you bet. We approach everything up to the district meet as practice, and so we started officially practicing in right there early January, and all the way up to this point, it's all been about just taking care of what we can control and we can control, and getting better at the things that we can. We can't change anybody else or do anything about what other people do, but we can work hard and we can give our best effort. And that's really sums up pretty much every year at Heritage. And that's we're very successful at the district track meet and have had a lot of qualifiers at the area. And then just recently the regional track meet, and very fortunate to have a few guys and girls going to the state track meet. So it's been a really good year so far.
Coach Gardner, I mean, it seems like every year there's new PRs. There's new, you see these kids starting out as freshmen. They're running, and you see them PRing all the way through. And then they hit senior year, and they're still PRing. They're still extending things. And they're breaking school records left and right. It just seems like all those records are getting recycled about every 2 years. And from what I see from Heritage, how great is that the program has gotten to this point of pushing kids even further than what they think they're capable of.
That's really cool. That's what records are for. That's what we have the record board right there in the field house. Right as you come in, take a left, it's right there. And we've got a bunch of empty slots right now because these student athletes have broke those records. And so just to see them continue to work as Eva comes in as a freshman and she sets a record, and now she'll be trying to break that each year. And then somebody behind her is coming. And that's what we use to motivate our athletes. We want them to be at the very best at the end of the season. And that's what you're seeing right now, Tater. And it's really, really, really fun to see that happen.
Well, and Eva, you're running these kind of distance deals here. That's a totally different mentality than these short races. And, a lot of people are waiting for the sprints. They're waiting for the hurdlers, that kind of thing. But talk about just the mental attitude you have to do. And Allie, I'm going to come to you with this same question, okay? But the mental attitude y'all have to break people down on a track. Those races, you're just looking to break a person and make them give up. What is it, the mental part that has made you successful about this?
Like I have that problem a lot. Like during the races, I mentally give up, and it's hard to get past that. But after districts, I was just I have to push that aside. I know it's gonna hurt and everything, but I just say mentally strong, especially yesterday, because the last 100 meters, this girl, I was in first place, but she passed me. And I was okay, I can't just give up. I still have to stay strong and everything. And I just have to keep reminding myself that, because if I don't, it's 90% mental with me and 10% my actual endurance and things like that. But yeah, it plays a big part. I just have to remind myself that I'm running just to stay mentally strong.
And Allie, being 2-year regional qualifier in those 3 events, the 800, the 1600, and 1300 PR'd all of them in the same year this year. How do you keep that mental edge against your competition?
I really think that it's just you have to want it. And so it just kind of pushes back to the mental aspect. You have to stay mentally strong, of course. But if you want to do your best and you want to keep getting PRs, it just helps a lot with the mental aspect of it. Well, and I'm going to jump down to Casey. And I just think this is a bigger part about track that a lot of people don't get. Casey, when you're over there, normally disc and shot, y'all are over in the back 40 with about one coach and 2 parents sitting over there with you, but you've got to stay mentally strong over there as well, because it's not, everybody thinks those events are totally about how strong you are. There's a lot about angle. There's a lot about, knowing the wind that you're throwing into, et cetera. Especially with that disc. I mean, as a person that's district champ regional qualifier in disc, and you're the school record holder, talk about what it takes other than just the physicality.
That's something I've always battled with is mental part of it. You get into it and you get into a bad habit and it throws you off, and you got to be able to, mentally correct yourself, step out of the ring, go practice, look over film, and you got to be able to make those adjustments on the fly. And it's a hard thing to do sometimes, because you can psych yourself out, but it's definitely there's a big mental aspect of it, because whoever throws the best day obviously is going to come out with the victory.
Well, and Stetson, that jump mentally, right? If you're going from where you broke school record in the triple jump, you're the regional champ right now, but then you also run the 4x200. What does that break? Because it doesn't seem like it's going to be that long in between events sometimes, but especially during normal season. But how do you mentally prepare for 2 events that are so drastically different?
I just, practice. One day I'll practice all my jumps, make sure I'm good on all that. And then the day before the track meet, I'll go do all my handoffs. So I'm kind of split in half my brain. So then while I'm focused on all my jumps, that's the only thing I'm focused on. I finish all that. Then I'll get a drink of water, eat a snack, and then go out there and prepare for the 4x2, and then give that my best effort. And that's just how I do it.
I just still don't see how y'all do baton handoffs. That's so foreign to me. It's pathetic. Okay. It's an art. But Coach Edwards, when we talk about the 4x200 or any of the relay events for your teams, these guys are multi-sport athletes, and they're very well versed in all these things. how do they get that preparation? I mean, I know it's repeat and rinse and recycle, right? Doing handoff after handoff. But what is it about this year's teams, and especially in your relays, that made them so special?
It's a challenge. Because like you said, we have guys that are baseball players, and so they have baseball games multiple times a week and have kind of different times where they practice. So it's hard to get all the pieces of the puzzle together. And then, another thing that we have guys that are underclassmen in our athletic periods. We see those guys, but our seniors, they have to come after school, and that's when we try to get everybody. But it's a puzzle piece. It's a puzzle piece to try to get them all together. That's probably the toughest thing. And I'll be honest with you, the day before and then the day of, we're kind of intense about it. It's not lackadaisical because we get those few times to actually practice some of that stuff. So we're pretty intense and focused, but it's we would love to rep it every day, but
yeah,
that just doesn't fit into what we do at Heritage and where people are at. But those few times that we are focused and getting it, then the kids have done a great job and responded, when it's go time and the lights are on. But that's definitely a challenge year to year, just fitting everybody's schedule and getting them together in the same place at the same time. So
I just think it's amazing that y'all are able to get any of these kids prepped out with all the stuff going on. Well, Coach Carpenter, one of the things, ran over to Live School, saw some of the meet there, and it's like y'all are flying from event to event as coaches, and I don't think people realize that. But when y'all are doing that, it's not just, hey, I'm doing disc, okay, I'm doing shot. Y'all are going over to pole vaulters, rallying them up. What is it like for a coach that's trying to help out? You got your head coach running like a chicken with his head cut off every direction, but to help him out by saying, hey, man, I got this one covered. Let's go take care of them.
Ted, I relate that to like our kids. We have so many multi-sport athletes, and a lot of our kids are going here and there in club sports and that. And our coaches are the same way. We just want to compete. We want to go win. We want to go see our kids compete at the highest level. And, it's at the end of the day, when you look at your little monitor on your phone that says that there was whatever 25,000 steps or whatever, and you're dead dog tired and you feel it, but you see the kids getting medals and you see our team succeeding. And actually multiple times, Taylor, I've heard comments from starters and meet officials talk about our coaching staff and the great job that they do. And we're not pulling out lawn chairs and we're not sitting and parking and watching. We're up and we're out trying to help as much as possible with our kids. And it's just it's a love of these kids and to help them be the best they can be.
That's awesome. Well, Eva, I want to come to you since you're a freshman, right? And this is why I wanted to ask you to start off the middle part. You're a 14-year-old, I'm guessing. Okay, it's 14, 15, right? Taking on 18-year-olds. That is a massive jump. If you play select stuff, there's 14 and under, 16 and under, and 18 and under. What gives you the biggest thrill about that is being able to, being athletically gifted, mentally gifted, and have the heart to compete against these upperclassmen.
It was tough because like you were saying, like, since it's just like my first year in high school, like I've never like gone against people that old before. Like you were saying, it's like normally like age groups and stuff. So in cross country, it was like a big like shock. I was like, wow, these are all super old people. But whenever I started going to the meets, I was like, it's okay. Like they're only like me, just a few years older. But I don't know. In cross country, I really wanted to make it to like state in cross country, but I was like the 11th individual. So I missed like one place. So I was like, okay, I can do this. Just because they're older, like doesn't mean like I'm not as good or anything like that. So that like motivated me for track season. I was like, I don't want to be one place away from going to state again. So I was like, because I knew I could do it since I was just one place. So that's what like kept me motivated this track season to go.
Well, and Allie, you got a family name, okay? A bunch of great athletes. And just taking that family name, but not only that, but being a woman that's been a star at that high school and within the community. What does it mean to you going into your senior year next year? You know, what does it mean to you to be that mentor to other young ladies out there, to saying, you know what, if you work hard, you can have the grades, you can have the performances, you can win the medals?
I think it's a lot of fun, really, because you get to know so many of these girls, especially on trips like regionals, when we get to go and stay in the hotels. And all it really does is build your bond and make you closer. And I've gotten to know so many of the people that came, especially Eva, throughout cross country and track season. And I just think it's so much fun to get to know the girls and to know like that they still have like 3 years left, like Eva does.
It's awesome. Well, Case, I'm going to come down to you real quick. We'll jump back up the stairs in just a second. But kind of the same vein for y'all, being somebody that on the football field, baseball field, whatever it might be, right, where young men are sitting there watching. And I know y'all probably don't think about this through here, but y'all have good grades. You do so many good things around the community. You know, everybody knows you go to church, there's a little kid there that comes up and wants to talk to you. What does that mean to you to inspire other people to reach those heights that you have?
Well, you know, I was that little kid one day back in the day, you know, and it means the world. It meant the world to me, and it's an honor to be that type of role for somebody else. And, you know, it's exciting to be able to influence these kids and, you know, set the example, because I know that I was in their role back at one point.
Stephen, what about you, bud?
Kind of the same thing. When I was in 4th grade, all I wanted to do was be a varsity football player. So going back and reading to those kids during the football season meant a lot to me, because I know how those kids felt. And same thing with these people coming in, you know, they're scared, they're nervous, and, you know, you let them know that it's all right. You know, we had a couple freshmen on varsity, like Eva for track. You know, I'm sure they were nervous, but they had people there that were telling me it was fine. Just because somebody's 4 years older than you doesn't mean they're better than you. So, yeah.
Well, that's pretty awesome, dude. Well, Coach Edwards, let's talk about the next step now, okay? We've been through this. Now, how do y'all prepare for taking it all the way down to the big one?
We work harder than we've ever worked before. We're going to put more hours in. We're going to just grind. That's
go for it, man.
You got to be smart. A lot this time of year. We definitely know that there's room for improvements, so we focus on the little details, the fine details that might have, you know, slipped through the cracks when there's 100+ kids and you know, in a track meeting going on. So we really focus on the details of those that qualified and where they can improve. It's a lot about recovery. It's a lot about rest. That's what I'm saying, you know, being smart. And that's it's not about go. How many hard workouts can we get between here and there? It's more, here's where we're going to work and here's where we're going to recover, and be on the same plan. And that's been successful in the past. And taking care of our body, we want to go have fun. We want to compete. We want to do our best. But the only way that's going to happen is to be physically, mentally, and spiritually, you know, in a good place and ready. And so that's, like I said, there's a little physical training, and we'll have some days where we'll definitely focus on that. But the details and taking care of our bodies, and that's, you know, that's working out, but that's also how we're sleeping and putting the phone down and turning off the TV and closing the computer and all the different, you know, areas that kids struggle with these days. It's a lot about nutrition and hydration. So that's a lot of, which we do all throughout the season, but now it goes a long ways here at the end.
Well, so we're talking about really focusing on coming out of the blocks. I mean, like y'all swim team, they worked on turns, I think, for 6 weeks. That was cutting seconds down when we talked to them. You know, just the little bitty dynamics that most people don't ever think about. So like if Kaysen is coming on a release, trying to get that release slot on the right spot, you know, on a triple jump, making sure that foot's landed, things like that, and the knee's ready to bend, you know, all those great things. Or that big kick. Is that what you're talking about there?
Yeah, I want to talk about the details and where you can really focus on those things. But it's, you know, at the regional meet, you have essentially a week and a half before the state track meet. So it's a little longer than kind of usually your week to week just in track meet mode. So we definitely focus on the little things, but the mental aspect of it, and that's, you got to be ready to do that. So,
well, Coach Carpenter, one of the big things for track about me is it's one of the few times a year that the entire coaching staff pretty much gets together. I mean, you got your baseball and softball coaches that are out on the edge, but the majority of your coaches are at these track meets, which I've always found is an amazing thing. But with that many people out there that are that good, that are, beloved by these kids, does it not just bring y'all like closer together and make things and just keep evolving that thought process and that heart over at Heritage?
I hadn't thought about that in a while, Taylor, but that's a great question, a great point. But that's one of the really cool things that we have. We've had success in a lot of sports, and our kids support each other because we have, so many of our kids play, 2 or 3 sports, 4 sports. We have some kids that are playing basketball and soccer at the same time. I still don't know how that's possible, these kids that do this, but
yeah,
it is a really cool environment of support. And then when you bring in the coaches, we love each other, we support each other, we support each other's programs, but it is pretty cool to come together there at the end of the season, as the spring season, and to be coaching together. And that is a very, very cool aspect of the track season.
It's always found it amazing because there's so many great programs, and you can pull so many different things from each sport to bring to track season, and then vice versa. Stetson, track season, I guarantee you, basketball coach is like, triple jumper right there. Come on, try out for basketball. Okay. But no, let's start with you real quick on this one. What is it that you love about being a part of not only the track family, but the Heritage High School family?
I just think we're all one big family, and, it brings us all together. I play football with some people, and then they go play basketball, and I don't see them till track season. So it brings me closer to them again, even though I haven't seen them in 3 months. I get closer to Kaysen, who I play football with. I spend mostly every single day with. The coaches I don't see all the time, I get to see them more. It just brings us all closer together, since people from all different sports are coming together to play one sport.
What about you, Eva?
I would say just like what you're saying, like every sport has like a lot of like thought that goes into it and like success in it too. And because like I also played soccer, and I did cross country at the beginning of the season, and it's just the coaches are like amazing in track, and they just really help you to be the best you can be, like without like all the great coaching and great like tips they give you everything, like we wouldn't be as successful as we are in all the different sports here.
Awesome. Well, Allie, what has this coaching staff meant to you? Not only just preparation, but being there, becoming friends with these coaches. What has that all meant to you, this whole accumulation of things from the coaching staff?
Well, track season is definitely one of my favorite seasons because of the coaches, because you get to know so many people that you wouldn't know before. Like Coach Jones, our distance coach, he coaches football. Like I didn't even know who he was until this distance season when he became my track coach. And now I love him because he is so funny, and I love that he's our coach. And then like Coach Edwards and Coach Carp, they both coach football too. Like knew of them, but I never knew them until track. And I think track's just a great way to get to know so many coaches that you would never have because they coach like boys sports or something. And it's just a great opportunity to get to know so many more people.
That's good. Casey, what about you on the coaching staff?
Well,
Hey, answer wisely here, Kaysen.
I was about to say,
Jason, don't listen to him.
But what I was getting at was the more time you spend with people, obviously, the greater bond you're going to build. And so every day coming after school, and we're getting out there with our fellow track runners and throwers and our coaches, and it just you build a bigger bond with them, and it does become a family. And you look forward to that, and you can always lean on people, and it's good to know that you got a great coaching staff surrounding you.
Awesome, man. Awesome. Coach Edwards, what's special about this year's team to you? Every year, there's a lot of great kids, but every year there's something that like clicks within all the kids that they're all on point. They're all in focus. Is it passion, heart? What is it about this year's team that makes them stand out?
Every year is a little different, and the same at the same time. But I'll say this year we had more kids this year than we've ever had. Of course, we're growing and it's getting bigger, but the participation was not overwhelming, but just kind of shocking to see how many kids that we actually took to meets. And it was cool to see, knowing that, how some people rose in leadership roles and took control and kind of were self-led in a lot of ways and showed younger ones the ropes. And I'm going to remember that a lot about this year. And then obviously these guys right here and several others that performed and PR'd. You love to finish with a PR. You love to finish just going out. You're doing your best. We talk about that a lot, but and we did as good a job as any. We broke records. All that stuff's great, but again, just to see people step up in their leadership and kind of come out of their shell a little bit, and with more kids than we've ever had, I'm gonna remember that a lot about this year. So for sure.
Coach Carpenter, is there something special about this year's team that has touched your heart?
When I think about these student athletes in front of me, I just think about overcoming adversity. I think about we're sitting there. It's been a long weekend, but I think it was yesterday, Stetson, that you triple jumped.
Yep.
And Leah had just finished, and while Leah was triple jumping, the wind changed, and the wind changed out of the north, and so now Stetson's about to be jumping into the wind. He didn't blink an eye, and he went out and popped a 45 into the wind. That's an adverse situation. He stepped up. Allie and competing in 3 events, not just 3 events, but you're talking about the biggest events. And I mean, how tough is that? Eva, she may have stopped and then may have had some pickles on the way over, and it may have upset her stomach a little bit, but her and her coaches had a plan, and she may have thrown up a little bit after the 800 yesterday, but she poured it out and she did what she needed to do. And then in case, got into the finals by the skin of his teeth, but went out there and threw a better throw, his 4th throw, and went out and threw a very good 144, his 5th throw. And so just over and over, just examples of our kids and our coaches overcoming adversity and having fun while doing it.
I'll tell you what, we appreciate all y'all coaches, man, and Round Ellis County folks. If you don't know this, we got some of the best coaches in the state of Texas coaching these kids. They're as good on the court, on the track. Doesn't matter what surface. They're as good with these kids on as they are off. So appreciate them and let them know you love them. And these kids around here, let me tell you, there's 4 fine examples of people that give back to their community. And not only that, but they excel athletically and academically. So be applauding of them. And we can't wait to see what else happens for y'all. Kaysen, I know you're getting ready to go do bigger and better things down the road too. And we wish y'all the best luck down the road, and hopefully see y'all real soon, okay?